Well, Dr. Claire Gerarda joins us now. Now, she's a GP, but she's set up a surgery specifically to help doctors with addiction and stress. And alongside her, Dr. Joe McGilligan, who's been a GP for 25 years, but says he can no longer cope with the stresses of the job. And what have you done?
Well, this is November, and I want to raise the awareness of mental health in all men, but also particularly doctors, because actually we're our own worst enemy. We try so hard to work very hard for our patients. But a few years ago, I had a time where I was not working very well. I was getting very, very stressed, very, very depressed, and I got to the point where it was 2 years ago, I had a time where I wasn't being a good father, a good husband or a good person to be with, and I got to the point where I was chopping logs, and as I was putting the chainsaw down, I was thinking it'd be easier for me to just end it here.
That's bad. But
it got to the point, but the thing about it was, the reason I didn't do it is I had my mobile phone in my pocket, because I thought people then think I didn't try to call for help. Right. And that's the thing for me, is the reason I'm saying this now is because people don't look for help.
You poor chap, what a horrible experience to go through. And you turned to substances,
I was drinking too much. I was drinking every night just to relieve the stress. I was just feeling overwhelmed. I was working 14, 15-hour days and not doing my job properly.
You were going to actually resign live on air this morning to make the, not as a gimmick, but to make the point. You couldn't wait. You actually resigned yesterday, didn't you?
Well, no,
you just couldn't stand it anymore.
What I'm doing is I'm moving into another job. Yes. I can't continue doing the job I'm doing because of the burnout.
And so you've stopped being a GP?
I'm stopping being a GP.
I must tell you, if you don't mind me saying, that you look pretty burned out, actually. Yeah. You look like a man under stress. You really do. It's coming off you in waves.
Yeah. The thing about it is that there's no off switch, there's no safety valve, you know, for me as a doctor.
Did your patients notice anything? I mean, were any of your patients saying, actually, doctor, heal thyself, you don't look right?
Some patients do, you know, they all come and say, they pick up and say, you know, are you okay, are you know, but most people actually come in with their own agendas, sadly, you know, and that's the right thing.
Sadly, that's what you know, they've got issues, that's why they're going to the doctor.
Exactly.
Dr. Claire Gerarda, the point is, where do the doctors go? And that's why you've set up a clinic for the GPs.
And your point is absolutely right. I don't think it is for patients to come in and ask how we are. But many of my profession are struggling, and I run a service for sick doctors, the General Practitioner Health Service, funded by NHS England. And we only started in January, and we've now seen nearly 900 GPs, some suffering from depression, burnout, trying to keep their practice afloat, but we're all human. Others really just the straw that breaks the camel's back, an extra home visit just makes them crack under that pressure. And it is important because GPs are essentially the front door of the NHS. If we give, then I'm afraid the NHS can't cope with the workload.
Is there any way of knowing if it's worse now than it was, say, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And it's difficult to say exactly, because I think we always look back and think it was much, much better. Certainly there was mental illness 15, 20 years ago, but I think what's apparent now, and I've been a GP for 25 years, I cannot do a full day's work without feeling exhausted at the end of it. 25 years ago, I used to finish my morning surgery at 11. I used to do a home visit. I used to pick the children up from nursery school, give them some...
You had an integrated life?
I had and then I used to go and do evening surgery at 4 o'clock and finish at 6:30 and be on call 1 and 5.
So put your finger on it then. What's changed?
It's the complexity of what we have to do. It's the work shifting from hospitals into general practice. There is this famous phrase, the GP is best placed to do everything. I mean, we do everything now other than open heart surgery in our practice.
I mean, you're saying you were working 15, 16 hours a day.
Well,
it's intolerable.
I'm still doing that.
That is, and what, you're not seeing patients for that long. So what is going on that's putting you under so much cracking stress?
The issue is the prescriptions, the paperwork, the correspondence and things. The thing about it is, if you miss something, then patients might get harmed. So if you miss a note in a letter saying please refer this patient, or if you miss a, you know, please change this medication, if you miss that by, you know, because you've got 50 or 60 letters to read.
Well, we heard that GP in the video there saying that she was actually skipping her background checks on prescriptions before making them because she just didn't have the time. Straight question: have you made mistakes because of the stress you've been under?
Absolutely, I'm almost certain I have.
Really?
You know, almost
that-
certainly. But the thing is, the issue is, you know, I don't go to work to make mistakes, but I pay £10,000 a year for a lawyer to actually to defend me. But the issue for me is, you know, the patients will be harmed. If I make a mistake, a patient will be harmed.
It's a bit like your airline pilot. A tired airline pilot will as much more at risk of making an error. We mustn't have tired GPs because we make errors, and that is a patient safety issue.
It's so ironic. I heard the Health Secretary at the weekend, live on air, saying how much investment they're putting into mental health services. And we had GPs on the programme this morning saying that they're leaving their jobs because of their mental health.
And to be fair, I think more money
isn't it?
is coming in, but it's trying to keep it going in order to keep excellent GPs like this doctor in the NHS seeing you when you need to be seen.
Well, listen, we've got to end it here, but just one quick comeback from you when I give you the statement. A spokesperson for the Department of Health have told us that they are investing an extra £2.4 billion by 2020 in GP surgeries, and they will continue to explore options with GPs to overcome the kind of problems that we've been talking about and give any NHS patients the high-quality care they deserve. End of quote. Any comfort to be taken from that?
Well, I mean, it is in the future, and hopefully we can retain GPs such as Joe long enough that we don't lose a whole workforce. NHS England is trying their best to put in some money to redress what is about 10 to 15 years of underfunding in general practice. Hopefully it's not too little too late.
OK, well, Doctor, the very best of luck in your new career.
Do you find that you are now able to ask for the help and get the support that you need?
I mean, the thing is, you know, I didn't know about Claire's service until, you know, it was after I'd been through the problem. So, I mean, that's the thing, it isn't out there, and there isn't, you know...
Well, you should avail yourself of it.
General Practitioner Health Service.
All right.
Good.
Thank you both very
I
much.
hope you can get that support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both very much.